Yo guys, welcome back. Today we'll be doing an updated meta weapons build guide, something that I have noticed a lot of people enjoy and make good use of with the two I have done previously, so this one will be specifically for Season 3. We have seen a lot of slight meta shift, but nothing too crazy. Guns like Excava, Ancient Knight, and Albion Cavalry have really been brought to the top of the meta with the Wall Crasher, but some of our previous top meta guns are still up there with the likes of Restored Relic and the Last Dagger. Will not be in a particular order, but in a sense it is. This will just not be like in a tier list style or number 1, number 2, S tier. Okay, so just understand I am putting these in an order, but we're not really going to do anything like a tier list here. This is just to get the builds and all the information in one place for people for all the relevant weapons. We will be doing this in 3 categories: meta weapons for damage with some honorable mentions, builds for the best weapons you should be using in a buffing Descendant role, then builds for your stat sticks, and at the end I will include builds for Exterminator and Eraser. Although these are not nowhere near meta weapons, I know people are interested in having builds for them. It's along the way, like if this is good for a certain Descendant only, will be up on the screen, along with the RK tuning relevant to the weapon or Descendant. If you have any questions after watching this or want to see other weapon builds, I'm live every day on Twitch. Stop by, always happy to answer questions about the game or show any of my builds, as they all do not make it onto YouTube. Link is in the description. With that out of the way, let's get into it. First, we'll start off with the Restored Relic. Easily the best mobbing weapon in the game. The key here is to make sure you have your triple fire rate cores, and then you're matching 2 elements to whatever content you're doing. For your substats, multi-hit damage, multi-hit chance, explosive attack, and then either the element or the faction you are fighting. You can go either or. I usually go with the element because Restored Relic, specifically on Serena and Glay, are really good bossing weapons. If you just want to have some fun, mow down a Colossus while you're opening Amorphous. Now, as far as Serena's build, and I would say most Descendants in the game could use this. It's not amazing because of ammo economy, but still usable. Good in Purge if you need to bust down some shields or to clear out some trash really quick. So this is what we're doing here. We have our element slot, and I have this slotted for any element I want. Expand high power magazine is very important, so you can hold a lot of ammo and really spam this weapon. Then for your RK tuning with this, you're gonna want to go with this setup. Pretty much any Descendant you do run this on. Obviously defense neutralization might not be available there, so if it's not, just simply go for more firearm attack, but multi-hit's going to be very important here. And then once again, the enhanced max rounds, letting you hold more rounds for the weapon. Now, another Descendant that this really shines on after Serena is going to be Glay. It's pretty much the same setup. The cores and the substats are going to be exactly the same. The only thing with Glay here is you do not need any of the ammo economy mods. And I do remove 1 radius mod with her just because of how she can spam the weapon so well. I don't find it necessary. So with that, we're able to go with chill circulation and then adding in chill priority. And then when we look at her RK tuning, like I said, we do not need the extra ammo here, so we're able to build into more firearm attack with her, but we are still building this weapon for multi-hit. Now, let's start getting into some of the bossing weapons that are shining in this meta, specifically against Wall Crasher. And to me, number 1 right now is going to be Excava. You're going to want to build this with double fire rate, triple electric, and then we're building into multi-hit, weak point, and electric attack. This is a inherently electric gun, so we're taking advantage of that. For our mods, we are pretty much running the same module setup on 3 of our bossing weapons. I'm sorry, 4 of our bossing weapons we'll be showing here. It's just multi-hit, Serena, weak point, take some magazine, make sure you got your fire rate and your element, and that's really it. Most of these weapons are going to look the same when it comes down to it. And as far as the RK tuning, for Serena, we are building into our HP and then our multi-hit. Up next, we'll go over the Ancient Knight, which is another great weapon in Wall Crasher, and it's pretty much going to be the same aspect for most of these weapons. Like I said, we're going with our fire rate, we're doing double fire attack with this, and double firearm attack, and once again, multi-hit chance, multi-hit damage, weak point damage, and then our fire element. Fire is very important. We are inherently fire attack on this weapon as well, and this is going to be the almost same exact setup as Excava. The only difference here is we go with multi-piercing support ammo instead of expand weapon charge. This gun does not empty its clip as fast, so with this, I'm okay with going multi-piercing support ammo. Expand weapon charge could be a comfortable build, though, as well. So let's look at our arcade tuning setup for this, and exactly the same as the Excava. We're building into multi-hit, and we're building into HP for Serena. Now we will look at Albion Cavalry. Fire rate, chill attack, multi-hit damage, multi-hit chance, multi-hit damage, firearm attack, firearm critical hit damage. You could swap firearm attack for chill damage. Just happened to be what I rolled, and you know the Lego situation can get rough in this game when you're making so many weapons. As far as the build, this is going to be the build for bossing, which is going to be you're taking multi-hit induction here. On hitting weak points, you get a more multi-hit chance. If you wanted to use this for mobbing, one simple change I would make, especially in Axiom where you're not really hitting too many weak points, just simply swap that out for edging shot. I did that recently because I just wasn't paying attention to the mods. And once I did, I noticed that everything was getting absolutely melted with this, specifically the ships, because I'm just not hitting weak points out there. Now, as far as your arcade tuning, same exact setup, multi-hit and HP. If you're looking for some builds that do not involve Serena for the Albion Cavalry, this is going to be a general crit build for this with sweeping squad. This is going to be for your non-crit Descendant. So when we switch to somebody like Haley, we're going to be building something more like this, taking advantage of the fact that we don't need as much crit chance because she and I really can give herself the crit chance. So we're going to be able to build into Mag and Firing Fiesta, and that makes us a pretty decent mobbing gun for Haley. And if we are talking about mobbing and Haley with this, this is the arcade tuning tree I would go. You would be building here into some skill power and into the firearm attack here to be able to get defense neutralization as well. And I will also flash the mods up for Haley with this mobbing build because it's not something I covered on the channel. I think some people might be interested in seeing it, but this is basically what I run with her in Purge when it comes to mods. And then when we get into her setup, we're using the Frozen Singularity Reactor, cooldown crit damage, and the 4-piece Polar Knight. While we are here with Haley and talking about a mobbing gun, we can go over Malevolent, even though not available to players right now. It is from the season pass from season 2. I run triple fire rate with firearm attack and a chill core, and then we are running firearm attack, rounds per magazine, Legion of Darkness, and chill attack. I had this build for chill because of Purge 10 specifically, although it is inherently a toxic gun and can be really good in your challenge Purge 5 stage. But I have it built for chill, just for Purge 10, because it's pretty necessary on some Descendants if you want to try to use them and get through it. And as far as a build for her, this is what it'll be looking like. And if we're just looking for a general build with this, not having to do with Haley, this is usually what I go with. And then if you're looking for Toxic, you simply just swap your chill for Toxic. So we'll get back on Serena now, and we'll go to Fallen Hope, which is going to be really good for your Abyss Colossus right now, being that they are weak to Toxic. She does not do the best in there, being that the skill damage is going to shine in that fight. That's how the devs have set it up. You're going to do double fire rate, firearm attack, Toxic, and then your utility core does not matter too much. And then you want Toxic attack, firearm attack, multi-hit damage, multi-hit chance. And as far as our mod setup, it's going to be very similar to what we're running on the AK, Albion Cavalry, and the Excava. We're building in the multi-hit, we're building in the weak point, and we're using our element. Then for the arcade tuning setup with that, it's going to be what we always do on Serena. We're going to build into our multi-hit, and we're going to build into our HP. Now, another gun, which kind of maybe got knocked off its pedestal a little bit, but is still a great gun. We're going to be going over a few different builds here. A lot of this is general for whatever you're doing, but then we will get into something like Glay using this, and just also a general build on top of a Serena build. So your Last Dagger will pretty much always look like this. Your element, your 2 firearm attack cores, your 2 fire rate cores, and then your critical hit rate, critical hit damage, weak point damage, fire attack. I roll this on all of my Last Daggers besides one, which is going to be set up for mobbing, specifically with Serena. I will show that. Now, this is going to be your Greg setup. This is your Greg setup for everyone but Glay. So if you're using Glay, you do not need Firing Fiesta, and that's where the change is going to come. So if you're using any Descendant with Last Dagger, specifically against Greg, this is going to be your go-to. Now, if you're using any Descendant, basically anywhere, this is something you want to go with. And we're basically switching out Overwhelm for Tenacious Hunter, and, you know, pick your element to what fits your gun and your situation. If we're doing a General Colossus fight, it's going to be almost the same thing here, but we are going to use Ultra Precision Strike, and this can be used once again on any Descendant to take down basically any hard mode Colossus before endgame. Now, if we want to talk about Glay, we're going to be going with Sharp Precision Shot and Ultra Precision Strike. Other than that, everything else here stays the same all around. Now, if you're interested in more of a mobbing Last Dagger, it's going to look something like this, and it's very, very simple. We've basically taken out a fire rate core to add a rounds per magazine. This pretty much just makes this gun into a mini LMG. It's quite funny. And then we're going to turn it into a multi-hit gun because we're not really hitting as many weak point headshots as we would be in a bossing situation. So for arcade tuning with your daggers, for Serena, this is what we will be running, multi-hit, and then we are running with defense neutralization. Just a way to go here, we are going to get the 2 HP at the bottom. Now, if we're talking about somebody like Glay, we do not have access to defense neutralization, and we are not building into multi-hit here. We will be taking advantage of the crit and all the firearm attack that she can get. So a little bit different setup here when it comes to the arcade tuning for your other Descendants besides Serena. And we'll stick with Glay here for 2 honorable mentions. 2 guns that are very, very good with Glay. Greg's Reverse Fate, just fun to use, really. Does really good damage. For me, her best gun, though, for bossing right now is still going to be Last Dagger. So these 2 are going to be contenders, which is going to be Greg's, and then we're going to look at Perforator as well. Just your normal setup here for Greg's with Glay, weak point, crit hit rate, crit hit damage. The bombardments scale off of weak point hits, and the bombardments can also crit. And with Glay, you're able to actually build into two element mons here, which is very nice. Where if you weren't using Glay, you would want to use something like Spray and Pray to get more bullets off. Now, we do have Perforator with her. Honestly, a very, very good weapon with her for many situations, mobbing, bossing. Triple fire rate here. It is a very, very hard gun to control. Firearm critical hit damage, and then for our substats, we're building into crit, weak point, and firearm attack. And this is going to be your setup for Glay. Of course, switch out your elements for whatever you're doing. I do have this set up for chill right now. Works great with all elements, though. Now, let's go over some weapons used for debuffing, Enduring Legacy, and we have shown this before on the channel. We're basically building this for as much rounds as possible to be able to keep the unique ability up, so that's our key here. With this setup, you're able to shoot this gun from 25 to 30 seconds. If you want to get real sweaty, you can put Firing Fiesta on a second gun, proc Firing Fiesta, and then swap to that. Now, I do not have my Excava built specifically for this situation, but it's kind of going to be the same setup I'm using on Serena. With this, though, you just need to make sure you're hard aiming to proc the unique ability debuff. And then we have our Naz. Not really too much here to worry about. I just set mine up for damage. You're mostly going to be the debuffer for Serena. Not going to be doing anything crazy. Payout is very nice here. We're building into weak point and our critical hit. Now, as far as our arcade tuning here, for Nell, this is going to be specific for Nell because we're trying to get defense neutralization over here. It's very important if you're playing the debuffing role for her. Now, as far as a Descendant like Sharon, she is not able to get defense neutralization. It's very unfortunate. So this is what a arcade tuning setup is going to look like for Sharon. Now, let's go over our top stat sticks in the game. Number 1 is probably Secret Garden, triple sprint speed, and critical hit is very high on this gun, so we're going to be building into critical hit rate and critical hit damage. As you can see with this, I have 90% critical hit rate, and I'm on a Nez who does nothing to amplify that at all. And as far as a setup, I always have brisk walk-in, spray and pray, just free bullets if you actually do need to shoot the gun. And like I said, we're building into crit hit rate, crit hit damage. We'll go over Peacemaker here, something I use on Valby. I do use on Bunny, but you only need 1 sprint speed core on Bunny. For the rest, you're going to want triple sprint speed. As you can see, I don't even have this, my substats rolled on this because I do not even shoot the weapon. If you were looking for a decent build though, this is going to be probably the best build for this weapon, but it's only really going to be effective on certain Descendants, one very much being Haley. Then we can go over Blue Beetle, which is actually a pretty good damaging gun. Something I use on Valby in some situations when I want to do a crit build for her, crit bubble bullet build. And then Sharon, of course, does use this gun for her mobbing build. Very good gun. I think very underrated in the game, but it's just not necessary at the moment. So we will go over the build, and it does get double sprint speed cores on it, which is very nice. And as far as a build, we're just taking advantage of payout here, building into crit. We got our element with our weak point mods. Then one last weapon for this category, which is also another very good damaging weapon, but right now is mostly just being used on Serena to regen her MP in the wall crasher fight. If you don't understand how that works, we will go over it pretty quickly. Basically, with her ascension and the impact rounds, the critical hit MP recovery is what you're going for here. And when you reload your wave of light, you get 100% crit chance with the weapon. So really just works out perfect for her. You take it out, you dash, you shoot it, you get all your MP back. As far as a build, double fire rate, firearm attack, critical hit damage, weak point. I do have a lot of weapon change speed into this right now, specifically for the Serena setup. And same thing here, I've gone with 2 weapon change speed mods. So let's look at the Exterminator and then the Eraser. Not great weapons. Exterminator's decently useful in Axiom Plains for taking out the ships. Other than that, this gun is nothing special. I've chosen to just build mine into the element that's inherently into, so that's going to be fire. I've also just done a ton of rounds per magazine because reload's kind of slow, and why not? Let's just build into a ton of rounds. So that's what we've gone with this. We built into element, like I said, expand weapon charge, and then I also have expand high power magazine for the additional ammo storage. And then on our Eraser, which is toxic inherit, we've also built into that here, triple toxic with fire rate, and then a sprint speed core, which is nice. And then we have our firearm attack, critical hit rate, critical hit damage, and toxic attack. And for our build, we're going to take advantage of payout. We're going to build into crit and our element with our firearm attack mods. And that covers all the meta weapon builds for the beginning of Season 3. Any questions or suggestions about any of the builds, let me know in the comments. Or like I said, stop by Twitch. I'm live daily. Hopefully I did a good job with this. It's a lot of info to try to squeeze into one video. I try to keep it organized. I'm kind of just doing more of a rapid fire style. If I was streaming, if you guys have any suggestions about maybe doing something different, please let me know. Like and subscribe is appreciated. Thanks, guys. Peace.